or at this street track. Walls line the track. Very little runoff area here. It's going to be a big challenge for the drivers here this evening. One driver change that I'm aware of is Thomas Edwards is not racing for McLaren this evening. He said it is going to be Romano racing for them instead. So, and Gareth isn't racing for Toro Rosso either. So a second driver change. It's going to be Matt racing for them as well. So Q1 is about to start. So we're going to lose. Only the top 15 go through here, so we're going to lose the bottom 5. Only the top 15 will go through to Q2. So let's see who that is going to be. So just waiting for the session to start. So it's a long track here, just over 3 miles. Most corners of any track on the calendar as well. It's 23 corners here at Singapore. Very challenging. One of the racing points is already going out. One of the Renaults look like they're going out as well. And the other racing point as well. So both racing points immediately out onto track. We've got Cesar going out. And I believe, I'm not sure who the other racing point is, but definitely Cesar is out. We've only got 18 in the race. So it looks like we are missing a couple of drivers. We've also got Anthony out in the Toro Rosso. Just to confuse me a little bit, we've got 2 Anthonys in the race. So we've got Renault Anthony's going to be called Ant, and then Toro Rosso Anthony, well, it's called Anthony, just to try and ease the confusion. So here is Anthony in the Toro Rosso. First car to venture out the pits. We've also got Ant in the Renault out. We've also got Pete Polini out in the Williams. We've got Cesar out in the Racing Point. And we also have Romano out in the McLaren. As they're coming through along the Raffles Boulevard here. This is Anthony in the Toro Rosso. As always, 18 minutes for Q1. And we're going to lose, as there's only 18 in the session, we're only going to lose the bottom 3. It appears we only have 1 racing point here. And we've only got 1 Mercedes as well. So Callum Harrod is not racing here. So we've got Callum McGregor. So, first flying lap. Here is Anthony Bauer in the Toro Rosso. Let's see what kind of lap time he can produce. So far in the World Championship, he scored 65 points. He's sitting 8th in the World Championship table at the moment, and Toro Rosso are sitting 6th as well. An intense battle going on in the Constructors' Championship. Just very quickly to run through the championship, Anthony Waddington in the Renault is dominating the Drivers' Championship. He currently has a 69-point lead at the top of the World Championship over Owen. But Renault are only 8 points clear of Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship. Then a bit of a gap to the Racing Points, who are sitting 3rd. And then we've got just 31 points separating McLaren, Williams, Toro Rosso and Mercedes in the Constructors, with Haas only 10 points further back. So it's very tight in that battle for 4th in the Constructors' Championship. Yellow flag in sector 2, but I think that was a car just getting out of the way. as Anthony Bauer now in the Toro Rosso coming through the first of the 3 chicanes ending the lap. And this unique part of the Singapore racetrack goes underneath the spectator grandstand and into the final chicane. Nice bit of curb there. We saw the suspension working hard. Oh, nearly clipped the wall as he comes into the final corner. As the McLaren going extremely slowly around the final corner. And Anthony Bauer goes fastest on a 1:37.4. This is Philip Nielsen in the Williams. And Anthony Waddington goes slightly quicker in the Renault. Everyone's going out on the soft tyres for this first session. No one's taking a gamble. And that's Pete Bellini. Here is Cesar also just starting his lap. And yes, Romano's got no front wing on that McLaren, so he must have collected with a wall somewhere. So he's going to have to go straight back to the pits and replace that as soon as possible. We've got 13 minutes of the session to go, so a lot of time is still left. But disappointing start here as Pete Bellini comes across the line and he goes third on a 38.4. So still very, very close there. The other Williams goes fastest. Philip Nielsen much, much faster. 1:36.2 in that Williams. That's an excellent lap time for the first part of qualifying. What a start to the session there for him. As this is Ivan in the Red Bull coming through to complete the second sector. Currently in the World Championship, Ivan's doing quite well. He's up in 6th place in the Drivers' Championship. He's on 72 points, tied with Irving. So it's very, very tight between those two. Let's see what he can do in the first qualifying lap. The other change I have just noticed is the other Ferrari is not being driven by Irving here today. It's actually Ryan Forey from X2. So he's got a reserve driver spot here in the Ferrari as Ivan goes 6th fastest. Here is Jorge just about avoiding the barriers there in the second of these tight chicanes around the back of the track near the end. Comes through the final chicane. Very, very fast final corner. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. Not quite sure what's happened there, but Jorge crosses the line and he goes 6th. Also on a 38.2. So we've got 3 drivers currently on the 38.2s. As this is JBL in the Red Bull, having an excellent championship so far. He is sitting 3rd on 118 points. He's 78 behind Anthony Waddington, but he's crucially only 9 points behind Owen. And with Owen not racing here this weekend, this will be a great opportunity for him to take 2nd place in the World Championship. Be looking for a strong result. 5th place will give it to him in the race. So let's see what he does here. First qualifying lap for JBL, and he goes up to 6th, also on a 38.2. Look how close it is there. Between 5th and 8th, covered by less than a 10th of a second already. I think this is a taster of what's to come. Here is Thomas Edwards in the Haas. So I'm just trying to see who's missing there. As Jarvis isn't racing then either. So Thomas Edwards in the Haas. Let's see what he can do as he comes through this second sector. Missed the apex there. A very, very difficult racetrack to get absolutely right. It's one of those tracks you need to concentrate for every corner. He's missed the apex again there at turn 13. Yes, one of these racetracks you need to concentrate every minute of every lap, or else it's very, very easy with the wall so close as you can see there. It'd be so easy to make a mistake, and it narrows as well in the final sector. The track really narrows up. Or just tap the wall there coming out of the second chicane. So the first of the 3 chicanes at the end of the lap. I think you'll just about get away with that. I think you hit it square on, and I think the suspension just about tolerated that. Let's see what he can do as he comes through the final corner to complete his first qualifying lap. And Thomas Edwards goes 12th on the 39.7. Ben Hazelwood here in the Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo desperately looking for some points as he starts his flying lap. Here is Romano in the McLaren. And there is Ryan Fori in the Ferrari. What an opportunity he's got here as he comes through the final 2 corners of the lap, and he goes up to 5th on a 37.9. So good opening lap there from him. So close in that midfield battle. Here is Romano now coming through to complete his first flying lap. Interestingly here, Cesar's chosen to stay out. He has now pitted, but he did 2 flying laps on those soft tyres. Little bit of traffic here for Romano. Will that get in the way? No, it moves nicely out of the way there. That's one of the Red Bulls. I think that's JBL recovering to the pits. So here is Romano coming through the final corner. And he goes up to 13th on a 1:39.1. So we've still got 4 cars yet to set a lap time. They are Ben Hazelwood, who's on a lap at the moment in the Alfa Romeo. Dean in the second Alfa Romeo. Also Thomas McGregor in the second McLaren. He's currently on a lap as well. And Michael Booker is out on track. So here is Ben Hazelwood coming through these final chicanes. Car number 62 here, the Alfa Romeo. Down into this second chicane. Just about avoided the wall there. And again on the exit. So pushing it extremely hard here. Through the final chicane onto the last corner. Take that as quick as you can. And Ben Hazelwood crosses the line. He doesn't want 40.0. So I think he made a mistake there somewhere. Because I'm sure Ben will be quicker than that. Here is Thomas McGregor in the McLaren. He's in the chicanes in the final sector under the grandstand. Got the car turning in nicely there. That McLaren is looking very, very nicely poised. Into the final corner. And Thomas McGregor moves up to 14th on a 1:39.5. So we've got 2 cars yet to set a lap time. Here is one of them. This is Michael Booker in the Haas. Coming down to, he's now in the final sector, a little bit wide there. I think he just missed the apex, carried a bit too much speed through the corner. And again, there in the first of the chicanes, ran very, very wide, really took a lot of curb in the second part of the chicane. You get away with it there, because there is no wall too close to the racetrack, so you do get away with it there a little bit more. Into the final chicane. Oh, and he did catch the wall there. Just ran a little bit, drifted a little bit wide and just caught the wall as Michael Booker crosses the line. And he didn't set a lap time, so I think they disallowed the lap there. Here is Dean also on a lap. No, they have given him the lap time. 1:39.5 there for Michael Booker. He goes 14th. So Dean now, the last person to set a lap time as it stands. Ben Hazelwood, I think he's doing a slow lap, so it looks like he's going to do a 3rd lap on these tyres. No, he's pitting. So, not the best lap time there from that Alfa Romeo. Here is Dean. Halfway around his lap. Yellow flag in sector 3. Being on a track like this, traffic is so important. So a lot of the time, especially in qualifying, the car's just getting out of the way. On board with Dean here. And there is a bit of traffic ahead of him. That is, I think, Michael Booker recovering to the pits. Sorry, no, it's Scott. Actually, it's Scott Young in the Renault getting out of the way. I just saw the black on the back of that Renault. So, Dean now in the final sector. Dean so far in the World Championship has scored 34 points, which has given Alfa Romeo the bulk of its points. Alfa Romeo bottom of the championship at the moment with 43 points. I think their target is to try and close the gap. They're currently 75 points behind the next team. So if they can just get good solid point scores, they can try and close that gap back down in the last third of the season. As Dean goes 2nd. Excellent lap time there from Dean, a 1:37.2. As Scott now is on his 2nd lap. So currently in the bottom 3 of the people that were going out is Ben Hazelwood in the Alfa Romeo, Thomas Edwards in the Haas, and Michael Booker in the 2nd Haas. So both Haas cars at the moment look like they're going out. This is Scott Young in the Renault on a flying lap. Let's see if he's better. He's currently sitting in 12th place on a 1:38.5. fraction down in the first sector, a little bit wide on the run into turn 7, and then nicely caught the apex in turn 8, so he may have just recovered a little bit of time there. This is 9 and 10. Tricky corner, got to get that right. It tightens up again at the exit. And then into this tricky chicane over the Anderson Bridge. He used to go down the left-hand lane there, you just saw. But they changed it a few years ago. Have a bit of a wider exit into the hairpin. Across the Raffles Boulevard, then you turn right here and it goes into Raffles Avenue. And back on the throttle once again. Flick left for turn 15, then brake hard. Nice bit of apex there for turn 16. There is a yellow flag in front of him. I'm not sure if maybe another car going slowly. It is one of the Ferraris. I think it might be Jorge. It is. Getting out of the way. Scott Young now in the final sector. There's a Toro Rosso going very slowly as well. Getting nicely out of his way. But can Scott Young improve? He goes up to 8th on a 1:38.0. That's a good lap time there from that Renault. Very good lap time indeed. Here comes Jorge. He's going to start his flying lap as well. I mean, 1/10 of a second here for Jorge will lift him up to 9th place. It's that close in the midfield. We've got Ben Hazelwood and Michael Booker both out on track. Michael's got to find about 1/10 of a second to move up out of the bottom 3. And Ben Hazelwood has got to find about half a second. And Anthony has retired from the session. I think he's quite comfortable there in 3rd place. We've got 2.5 minutes to go. Here is Jorge. Ben Hazelwood is also on a lap. Let's see what he's doing, because of course it's crucial for him. Oh, bit of oversteer there on the exit of turn 3 into turn 4. So let's see how he gets on here. DRS wide open through this little flick of turn 6. And that Alfa Romeo looking not too bad. A bit of oversteer there. And yes, and Ben's backed off of this lap, so he's got to hope he can pull it together for this. I think he's just caught the barrier there. He's got a bit of damage on his front wing. His left front end plate has gone. So Ben's abandoned this lap already as Jorge moves up to 2nd. Good lap time from him on a 37.1. But a bit of pressure now for Ben Hazelwood in this final part, a final lap he's going to have as the session draws to an end. This is going to be his final lap. And again just catches the wall. He's pushing so hard. Thomas Edwards, I think, has resigned himself to his fate. He stayed in the pit, so he's currently 17th. Let's see here what... this is Michael Booker coming through. Can he improve on his lap time? It all come down to the last few seconds of qualifying here. Look, the car looking good. He's 7/10 up here as Michael Booker. That is more than enough to get him through. So can Michael Booker keep it together in this final sector and get himself out of the bottom 3? Be good effort from him if he can in that Haas car. Into the last chicane of the lap. And are now coming down to the final 2 corners. Michael Booker here, currently in the drop zone in 16th position, and he moves up to 14th on a 38.6. Excellent lap time from him there. 1 minute 38.6. It sees him move up to 14th position. The last person we need to look at here he is. This is Ben Hazelwood in the Alfa Romeo. He is currently slow. There's a Red Bull right in front of him. Hopefully he'll get straight out of the way. And the Red Bull hasn't really moved out of the way. I thought he had there, but I think Ben Hazelwood is going to be out of qualifying. He will be disappointed with that. He was hoping for a good show here at Singapore. and he's still got the Red Bull in front of him. But no, this is not a good lap here for Ben. He did have that damage to that front wing, and being badly held up as well there by that Red Bull in that second chicane. So into definitely lost time there. And yes, Ben has abandoned the lap, so he will be finishing. Starting the race last. Thomas Edwards as well. He is going to be 17th. And dropped out of the session is Thomas McGregor in the McLaren. That's a bit of a surprise there. He's done very well so far this season, but he has dropped out of the session. He is going to start just 16th. Thomas McGregor 9th in the championship at the moment, 45 points. And everyone else has now completed their laps. So the 3 cars out of Q1, just to re-emphasise here, is Thomas McGregor in the McLaren. He will start 16th on the grid. Thomas Edwards in the Haas, he will start 17th. And Ben Hazelwood will start at the back in the Alfa Romeo. That's not what Alfa Romeo need. They want to get points on the board to try and close that gap that they've got between themselves and it's Haas above them, 75 points ahead. And they will not be happy with that. So, just to confirm, Philip Nielsen with an excellent lap time there in the Williams, almost a second quicker than anyone else. Jorge second for Ferrari, pulled a good lap time out of the bag there in his second attempt. Dean in the other Alfa Romeo, complete contrast for the Alfa Romeo team. Dean up in 3rd place, Anthony Waddington 4th, and then in 5th place we've got Anthony Bauer in the Toro Rosso, just ahead of his teammate Matt, and Pete Polini 7th, JBL 8th, Rian Forey 9th, and Scott Young rounds out the top 10. So, good first session. Let's see how we go here into Q2. In this session, we will lose the slowest 5 cars. They will be eliminated at this stage, but anyone who does get through to Q3, the tyres that they use for their fastest lap here in Q2, that is the tyre they will start the race on, unless of course it rains at any point during either this session or the race itself.
Yeah, we definitely saw that happen there last night. But how often can you see that about a Williams in 2019, fastest in qualifying? How often can you say that these days?
Well, I don't think we have at all so far. But so cars start to stream out of the pit lane. We've got a few leaving immediately.
And Rian Forey first out onto the
but
track.
Philip Nielsen, I have seen a few reports about Philip Nielsen, about how quick he has been, and he's underlined that in Q1, nearly a second quicker than the rest of the field. Half the field here, it looks like, in fact, one of the Anthony Bauer looks like he might be going out on a set of hard tyres. That would be a brave call. He has gone out on hard tyres, so that's a very brave call. Here we go. This is Anthony Bauer in the Toro Rosso on a set of hard tyres. So that's a brave call to try and get through to Q3 on those. Philip Nielsen has gone out on a set of mediums in the Williams. Likewise, Pete Polini in the other Williams. He too has gone out on a set of mediums. We've got Matt in the Toro Rosso has gone out on a set of softs, as has Michael Booker. So keep an eye out here. We don't want to have... We've had it a few times where cars have been caught out doing that, going out on a set of medium tyres, get knocked out by cars they should be quicker than in the on a set of soft tyres. So this is Anthony Bauer starting his flying lap. He's on these hard tyres. This is going to be interesting here. On these hard tyres, it's a very, very brave call. I don't think I've ever seen anyone go out on a set of hard tyres for Q2. So let's see how he gets on. Let's see if I can get a weather report for the rest of qualifying and the race. See how it is. Whether we are expecting any rain. Most of the field now out. The only person still in the pits is Dean in the Alfa Romeo. He's gone on to a set of medium tyres as well. So it means there's only 5 cars out there on the soft tyres. That's Anthony Waddington in the Renault. We've got Romano in the McLaren. Scott Young in the Renault. Matt in the Toro Rosso and Michael Booker in the Haas. They're the cars that have gone out on softs. Everyone else on mediums except for, like I said before, Anthony Bauer here. Car we're watching in the Haas. So he's coming through the chicanes. Rian Fori goes fastest.
And Bauer's in the wall.
He spun it. Well, he was struggling for grip, as he would do on those hard tyres coming out of the second chicane. And the report is as well that I'm hearing that is going to be rain for the last part of qualifying.
Rain on the screen as we speak.
So that is probably why everyone's out on the track now. Try and get those lap times in. Yes, there is rain starting to fall. So this could be interesting. The lights there of Anthony Bauer could be knocked out here. He's going to have to pit and change his tyres, I would have thought. Philip Nielsen currently fastest. Rian Fori's gone second. Michael Booker's done a good lap time now in third place. Ivan fourth in the Red Bull and Romano fifth. Got Matt sixth and Pete Polini seventh. Someone else has just jumped up. Cesar's gone up to third in the Racing Point. Here is Anthony Waddington on a set of soft tyres. Let's see what he can do. As someone else has just jumped up there. That's Callum in the Mercedes has gone ninth. So here is Anthony Waddington coming through the second to last chicane, then the last chicane, as Jorge jumps up to third just behind his teammate. And seems to be problems for Pete Polini, but he's safely through at the moment in 10th place. Here's Anthony Waddington. He goes second on a 37.8. He'll be pleased with that. And he'll be starting on those soft tyres. Here is JBL in the Red Bull. They're all trying to quickly get these laps in as quick as they can before the rain falls. Dean is now out on track as well. Anthony Bauer has returned to the pits. And JBL there with a bit of oversteer. I think they are starting to struggle already with the grip on track. But Williams getting nicely out of his way as he comes through the second chicane toward the end of the lap. Just touched the wall there to JBL. Starting to struggle. You can see the telltale signs there of the lack of grip. He's struggling a bit with oversteer. And JBL goes 11th.
39.4. That's not what he would have wanted.
Scott Young, I think, has just moved up to 10th in the Renault. So it's, let's have a look here. Anthony Bauer back out on track on a set of mediums. And Dean is on his hot lap now. So at the moment, the car's going through. Philip Nielsen in the Williams, Anthony Waddington in the Renault, Rian Fori and Jorge Klatzer in the two Ferraris. Cesar in the Racing Point. Michael Booker will be delighted with that, up in 6th place in the Haas. Ivan in the Red Bull, Romano in the McLaren, Matt in the Toro Rosso and Scott Young in the Renault. They're currently the top 10. It looks like a little bit of damage possibly on Dean's car already. He's not going particularly quickly. So I don't know if maybe he's ruined this lap already.
Oh, that's a Red Bull in the wall.
It is JBL. It is JBL. JBL is in the wall. I don't know if he's just... I saw him getting out of the way of Dean's Alfa Romeo. I don't know maybe if he's... I think as well he might have run out of fuel because he's accelerating extremely slowly.
Yes.
So, yes, he's run out of fuel there in that Red Bull. So he'll be crawling back to the pits. He's going to have to get back quickly. We've only got 7 minutes to go and he's in the bottom 5 at the moment. So he is not going to be taking part in the final part of qualifying as things stand. So Anthony Bauer and Dean on their quick laps now. And a weather report I'm hearing as well is that a dry start to the race and possibly rain at the end of the race. So that's going to liven up the end of the race, depending on how heavy it comes down. So that's going to make the strategy interesting for the race here. Of course, half distance race here. It's not a full race, so 31 laps instead of the full 61. Half the race distance. Here is Dean on his flying lap, really struggling, running wide there in turn 8 as it comes down to 9. Gets the nose of the car in nicely this time. Needs to lap. Pete Polini and Callum as well going out. Callum MacArthur in the Mercedes also going back out on track. But I think with the rain coming down, the track is just going to get slower and slower here. Let's have a look how Dean can do. Yeah, his middle sector's a long way off the quickest I've seen so far, about 3.5 seconds. So I think Dean here is going to struggle. The rain's really starting to come down now. Look at that rain there on that camera. So Anthony Bauer starts his lap, so has Pete Polini, but I think they're going to struggle to improve. And yes, Dean going slowly here.
Dean's out of fuel. Dean's out of fuel as well.
Well, this is incredible here. So it looks like Dean's going to be starting 15th on the grid. Let's see. Pete Polini.
Yeah, Dean struggled to get into the pits there. That's a sign as to how difficult it is right now.
And I honestly think here this is it now for the rest of the session. We've got 4.5 minutes to go, but the rain falling, and I think the top 10 as we see it is going to be the top 10 for Q3, because with the rain coming down, the track's getting slower, and we're seeing a few cars really struggling to get any power down. And yes, look, Pete Polini 4 seconds off the pace. So Anthony Bauer will be regretting that decision to go out on a set of hard tyres with the rain starting to fall, because he's struggled for grip so much. And even now, look, he's gone out on a set of mediums. We're still not getting the ultimate grip. Matt's going out in the Toro Rosso, as is JBL. Let's see what lap time Anthony Bauer does. He comes through the final corner, and he does a 1:45.4. That's how much they're struggling. So JBL has gone back out on a set of softs. At the moment, he's 11th. But like I said before, I can't see these lap times improving. Dean's going back out again as well. Look at JBL, they're sliding through the chicane. This is only on his out lap. But tellingly here as well, the top 10 are all staying in the pits. They're not venturing out again. So I've got to say, it would be a heroic effort for anyone to get into that top 10 now, with the rain coming down heavier and heavier here. JBL starts his flying lap. We're going to stay with him and see if he can possibly produce anything. Ooh, a lot of curb in turns 1 and 2. I think we're just about going away with that. Look at that oversteer on the exit. Power sliding out of turn 3 and through turn 4 into 5. Probably do the same on the exit there a little bit, not as much. Struggling to find the grip through turn 6. I think he's going to be a long way off what he was doing before. Yes, 2 seconds off. So I can't see anyone here. And yeah, look, he's struggling on the exit, nearly into the wall again. Really, really struggling. And the thing is with these wet conditions around here is that normally in the wet you avoid the white lines and the curbs. But being the street circuit, there is white lines everywhere. So it makes it extra treacherous. for the drivers. Oh! JBL slid into the wall there coming out of turn 10. Really, really struggling, and he's a long, long way off the pace. Dean starts his qualifying lap, but really struggling to even get the power down there out of, I think that's turn 13. And yeah, look, 11 seconds off the pace, so he's not going to improve. So let's see if Dean can at least put a lap on the board. He's on these medium tyres. Let's see how he does in the first sector. Actually, not too bad first sector, about a second off the pace. But overall, not too bad. So obviously good grip he's got in that Alpha. A little bit wide there in turn 8. Going to ride on board with him. He's going to be one of only 2 cars out on track at the moment with a minute to go. Look at the oversteer there. Comes down this back straight, down into turn 10. Just about getting it through into turn 11, over the curve. This is turn 12. And then a very difficult braking zone into turn 13, down to just 40 miles an hour. Probably a little bit slower than that on these tyres in these conditions. Along the Raffles Boulevard, down into turn 14. 50 miles an hour, very, very wide, just missed the apex. Then you've got a flick left at turn 15. Then you've got the first of these 3 chicanes at the end of the lap, 16 and 17. And he's run wide, he's in the wall.
He's in the wall.
Dean's hit the wall again. Well, inevitable really in these conditions. He's been brave, he's gone out 3 times on a set of slicks. But let's see, he's going to complete the lap. Session is now over. It is just Dean and JBL out on track, and Dean does go 15th on a 54 too. So unfortunate there for Dean. He made a couple of mistakes, and he finishes here in 15th position. So top 10, Philip Nielsen, Ant Waddington in the Renault, Rian Foray and Jorge in the 2 Ferraris. They too have made it through. So, but I would say standout performance there in Q2 was Michael Booker making it through to Q3. That's an excellent effort there in the Haas. So, just to confirm the top 10, Philip Nielsen, Anthony Waddington, Rian Foray, Jorge Klapter in the 2nd Ferrari, Cesar in the Racing Point, Michael Booker 6th for Haas, Ivan in the Red Bull, then Romano in the McLaren, Matt in the Toro Rosso, and Scott Young just makes it through in the 2nd Renault, timed his lap to perfection. So, yes, Michael Booker's delighted to make it through to Q3. So, and of course, being a wet qualifier, we saw this, and how heavy is that rain coming down now? Again, I think we're going to see a scramble out of the pits as quick as possible, because I think the Inters aren't going to be good for long. I don't think the Inters are going to be very good for long in these conditions. It is absolutely pouring down out there, so this will be exciting. Yes, they're all going out on wets, in fact, so full wet tyres for the whole field. And cars are starting to stream out of the pits now. So this is going to be interesting. Who can keep it out of the walls here? It's so difficult, this track, in the full wet conditions. See one of the Red Bulls. That's Ivan leaving the pits. We've got Philip Nielsen, Ant Waddington there in the Renault. And this is one thing I love about a wet qualifying session. It completely opens it out to anyone. Any one of these drivers, they can pull a lap together. We saw it yesterday in the Talk of the Devil League. Gary Braddon was favourite for pole position, and the wet qualifying came and he only managed 8th on the grid. It's one of these racetracks. You can see a racing line is there, so that will help the drivers. As I say, that saves on if he spins out altogether, but it will help the drivers there. We're having that racing line. Just gives you that little bit more grip, a little bit more confidence, less puddles in that part of the racetrack. But it's also very important. It's very narrow. It's only the width of the car, of course, so you want to stay on that racing line as much as possible. Venture off it, you'll have much less grip. You'll lose traction, you'll lose performance, and it will be very easy to snap the wheel and end up in the wall. So the whole field is out. It's all Philip Nilsson fastest in both qualifying sessions so far. We're looking at him now in the Williams. I'm going to see if I can ride on board and just do a quick, or do a lap with you on board. This is the chicane under the grandstand, and that's also tricky in these conditions because it's completely dry under there, of course. No rain gets there at all. So suddenly you get a lot of grip as you turn into the second part of the chicane, and then you lose it again. So it's very difficult to place your car perfectly. So here is Philip Nilsson starting his flying lap down towards turn 1, up to about 180 miles an hour. Brake down, third gear in about 70 miles an hour. Bit of oversteer on the exit. Turn 2 usually is flat. Then turn 3, 45 miles an hour in these conditions only. This is turn 4, which is just an acceleration zone really. Down towards turn 5. Go as far left as you can, then just clip the curb on the inside. Let it run close to the wall. Then turn 6, again, absolutely flat, about 170 miles an hour. And down towards turn 7. This is usually the DRS zone, 1 or 2 on the racetrack. Through turn 7, don't go completely wide there. You will get a penalty if you run too wide. Turn 8, he's missed the apex, but this is more the traditional street circuit style here. 90-degree right hand. This is turn 9. Onto the back straight. They've taken out the chicane down here now. It used to be a brilliant chicane when this track first came out, but turn 10, the Singapore Sling. Then into turn 11, you clump over the curb as much as you can. Little flick left to turn 12, balance the throttle. Difficult braking zone, you turn right, but then you go left for this hairpin at turn 13. Just 40 miles an hour, slowest corner on the track. There at the end of the Anderson Bridge, and this is the Raffles Boulevard. You accelerate hard down here, up to about 180 miles an hour. Brake down for turn 14, another 90-degree right-hander. Opens out on the exit though, got a lot of grip there on the exit of that corner. Then into turn 15, which is this left-hander. Then this is the first of the chicanes. Turn 16 and 17. Bit of room to breathe in that one. You see a couple of different racing lines through there. Then one way only through here though. This is turns 18 and 19 under the grandstand. 20 and 21. Similar again, right and left chicane, but it does open out a little bit on the exit of turns 21, and then 22 and 23, very fast final corner, about 120 miles an hour usually, and then you just accelerate hard through the exit. Philip Nilsson goes fastest on the 1:58.4. That's a good lap time in these conditions, expecting well over 2 minutes. Cesar's gone fastest on a 57.3, so a good lap time from him. Rian Fori's gone second, and Waddington's gone up into 4th place. This is Michael Booker, delighted to be in the final part of qualifying, riding on board with the Haas now as he comes down towards turn 13. Yellow flag in sector 1, I'm not sure, maybe someone's gone into the wall there or someone letting someone else through. What can Michael Booker do here? As Matt goes up to second in the Toro Rosso. That's a great lap from him. A 1:58.1. Michael Booker's run very wide there down to turn 14. So he's just got 3 cars to set a lap. Scott Young and Jorge. As Scott Young's coming into the final corner now. What kind of lap time can he do? Ivan's gone 6th. Romano's gone 7th. Scott Young moves up to 6th on a 59.7. Jorge now crosses the line. He goes up to 6th on a 59.2. Michael Booker now coming into the final couple of corners. What kind of lap time is he going to do? We saw a couple of mistakes from him, and he remains in 10th, but not that far away from Romano in the Haas. Sorry, the McLaren. So good lap time there from Michael, who is in the Haas, of course. So, are they going to stay out? Sometimes with these wet tyres, they do start to give grip after a couple more laps. You kind of get the sheen off the tyres, and it does just give you a little bit more grip. So you may see a few cars choosing to stay out here and do an extra lap or two. Michael's a little bit slower in the first sector, it's a second off the pace. Let's see if anyone's actually on the pace here. Yes, Ivan in the Red Bull, he's going a second and a half quicker. So a couple of cars are pitting, but if Ivan's got the fuel, he may well choose to stay out and complete this lap, because he's doing an excellent lap time at the moment, and I think that is what he's doing. So Ivan currently 8th on the grid, down on row 4. What can he do as he comes across the line, and he moves up to 4th? Good lap time from him, improved by a couple of seconds in the end. Rian Fori has improved his lap time, he's up to 2nd. So grid at the moment, Cesar in the Racing Point, who got pole position yesterday as well in the Talk of the Devil Racing League with an excellent lap time. Rian Fori 2nd. Matt with a brilliant lap time in the Toro Rosso, he is 3rd. Ivan 4th for Red Bull. Philip Nielsen 5th. Ant Waddington 6th in the Renault. Jorge 7th. Scott 8th. Romano 9th. And Michael Booker 10th. And Michael Booker has stayed out there. I think he's done one slower lap. Maybe just try and bed in those wet tyres. Let's see what he can do on what will be his 3rd lap. And a couple of cars. Oh, and Michael's in the wall. Michael's just tapped the wall there on the way out of turn 3. I'm just looking, a couple of cars are putting on a set of intermediates. That's going to make things interesting in the last couple of minutes. So obviously the track is improving. It's definitely not raining as hard as it was. And Michael is a fraction up in his first sector, but if I was him, I'll dive straight in the pits as soon as we can. Philip Nielsen's gone back out on another set of wets. Likewise, Cesar. We have got, it looks like, a few drivers possibly thinking about the intermediates. So, well, there's a lot of standing water from what I can see on the track, so it would be a brave decision to try the intermediates, but you never know. Yeah, there's a few thinking about it. Yes, Romano has gone out on those intermediates. So let's see what he can do. There's definitely a few others thinking about it as well. That, if those intermediates can come up to temperature, they've only got 2.5 minutes. If they can get them up to temperature, they should be quicker, as long as they can keep it on that racing line. As soon as they venture off into the deeper water, those intermediates will start to struggle. So it's all going to be about, can they keep it on the road? Michael's struggling a little bit there, running a little bit wide. I don't think he's going to have enough time, even if he did come into the pits and then put on a set of inters and get back out again. So he may just have to stick with this and see how well he can do. Ant Waddington in the Renault, and also Matt in the Toro Rosso, also going out on inters. So, and Scott Young as well. So they're all starting to think about it. Cesar could be regretting this decision. He's fastest at the moment, but he's gone out on a set of full wets. So he could be very quickly regretting this decision. I'm going to see if I can find Romano, who I think was the first car out on those intermediates. Let's see how he's doing. That car doesn't look too bad, does it? He looks like he's got a lot of grip. So let's see how he can do as he comes across the line. We could see the lap times dropping very, very quickly here. Now Cesar has gone straight back into the pits again. So he's not going to improve, and I think he's resigned himself to qualifying a little lower down. He's got put on a set of inters. He's not going to have anywhere near enough time. Philip Nielsen's staying with the full wet. And yes, Romano is a second up in the first sector already. So looking good here for him. Yellow flag in sector 2. Ooh, just ran a little bit wide there. Just, as I said, just ventured a little bit off the racing line. Caught the deeper water and ended up just tapping the wall. Let's see how he gets on in the second sector. Over the Anderson Bridge. And Philip Nilsson's out of the session. Philip Nilsson's had a problem. I think he's crashed that Williams. And so the man who was fastest in the first two parts of qualifying is currently 5th and out of qualifying. So he's not going to improve his lap time. Here is Romano. Let's see what he can do on those intermediates. Matt is one to watch as well. We saw how quick he was in the full wet conditions in 3rd place. Can he? He's the only one of the top 4 on those intermediates now out on the track. So let's have a look. Here comes Romano. This is going to change so quickly here. Romano crosses the line. He goes fastest at 56.0, a lot quicker. And Waddington 3 seconds up on his own lap time in the middle sector. That is at the moment enough to put him into pole position. This is going to be like a fruit machine here. The lap times are just going to tumble so quickly. And Waddington coming through the final sector. That behind him is a Racing Point, which is Cesar recovering back to the pits. He didn't have enough lap time to get out and start a flying lap. So Ant Waddington here coming through to complete his qualifying lap. This should be fastest if he can keep it all together in the final corner. And it is by nearly 2 seconds. By nearly 2 seconds. Here comes Matt in the Toro Rosso. And he's pitting. He's abandoning the lap. So the last person is Jorge. Can he improve enough? This could be crucial here. He was the last person out. He's timed it perfectly. And Jorge crosses the line. And he goes second. He goes second. Not quite quick enough. But Ant Waddington here, the championship leader, has taken pole position here. He's timed his run very, very well. Very quick when he needed to be. And he's taken pole position by just over a 10th and a half from Jorge. Philip Nilsson will be disappointed. He was fastest in the first 2 parts of qualifying. And he is 9th on the grid. It was so... And Cesar, of course, who was right up there, qualified, I think, down in 3rd or 4th place now. So it's just goes to show timing was everything in that session. So Ant takes pole position. Jorge alongside him. Romano, an excellent 3rd from McLaren. He will be delighted with that. Cesar, who was our early pace setter, he qualifies 4th. Rian Fori 5th in the Ferrari. Good effort from him as well. Scott Young 6th in the second Renault. 7th for Matt in the Toro Rosso. Ivan 8th. Philip Nilsson 9th in the Williams. And 10th for Michael Booker. He will still be delighted to get into the final part of qualifying though. Will Michael. It was an excellent effort from him. So now we've just got a little bit of a break now between qualifying and the start of the race. So you join us here at the Singapore Grand Prix, a fabulous island city-state down in Southeast Asia. We're only 85 miles north of the equator here, so it's a long, hot, difficult race, and the barriers are always there, ready to pounce on any mistake you may make. The track itself, just over 3.15 miles long. We've got 23 turns, which is the most of any circuit on the calendar. We've got 14 to the left, 9 to the right. We've got Sebastian Vettel is the most successful driver around here in history with 5 wins. Ferrari and Mercedes share the honours as teams with 4 different winners. We've got 2 DRS zones, 1 on the pit straight and 1 between turns 5 and 7. So with a flat out kink of turn 6 included in that. 31 lap race. Lap record to look out for. The official lap record is a 1:41.9 by Kevin Magnussen last year in the Haas. But last year in the last night even in the race, we saw lap times in the 1:38s in the race. They were so fast. So it's going to be an interesting race, Fraser.
Definitely, and if last night's race was anything to go by, we could be in for another classic here tonight.
Yes, and especially if the weather report is right, and we are going to be expecting rain towards the end of the race. So yes, the rain toward the end of the race could really throw a curveball in there. A very tricky racetrack in the rain, as we saw in qualifying there. Cars really struggling. Just to very quickly run through the grid order with you.
Have I been cooked yet?
Anthony Waddington on pole position in the Renault. Horgate second in the Ferrari. Romano third in the McLaren. Cesar fourth. We've got Rian Fori fifth in the second Ferrari. Scott Young sixth. Matt in the Toro Rosso, an excellent seventh. Ivan eighth. Philip Nilsson ninth in the Williams. Michael Booker 10th in the Haas. We've got JBL 11th in the second Red Bull. Pete Polini 12th in the second of the Williams. Callum 13th in the Mercedes. Anthony Bauer in the second Toro Rosso lines up 14th on the grid. Dean in the first of the Alfa Romeo is 15th. Unlucky in qualifying, got caught out in the conditions. I think he could be one to watch in the race. Thomas McGregor 16th on the grid in the... What car's he in? He's in the second McLaren. Thomas Edwards 17th in the Haas. And Ben Hazelwood also one to watch through the race. He lines up last. Couldn't really seem to get a good lap together in qualifying, so he could be one to watch as well in the race. So look out for the 2 Alfa Romeos fighting their way through the field. And now we've just got a little bit of a gap waiting for the race to start.
And while we're waiting for the start of the race, some of the action zones to look out for. Of course, the run down to turn 1. Of course, the race start in particular is always a chaotic affair, as Vettel, Verstappen, and Raikkonen can attest to in 2017 in wet conditions as well. Not the sort of thing you want to be doing. And of course, we've got the DRS zone of turns 5 to 7. We saw so much action there last night, especially with Callum Harrod trying to keep everyone behind him.
Indeed it is, and it did emphasise last night as well. If you get that move right into turn 7, it will work. But it's very easy to just lock a wheel, touch the inside wall, and then spin round, or smoked, or just touch the car in front of you.
Looks like we are switching lobbies.
We are indeed. A few technical issues for people. So apologies everyone. We are just going to switch over in a second to the new lobby. Let's see if I can join it immediately. Here we go. I'll now hopefully we're just going to wait for them to reset up the grid. Sorry about the delay, ladies and gentlemen. We're just waiting for the lobby to be set up and the grid to be formed. They've got the result. And of course now the weather conditions could be different as well. So let's see how that goes. hopefully we will be racing again very soon. I'm hoping. Sorry about the delay here, everyone. Have all 18 drivers back in the lobby, which is good. It's a good sign. And we look like we're just about to go. So don't forget, and on pole, Jorge alongside him, the McLaren of Romano third, and Cesar in the Racing Point in fourth. It's a brilliant grid. 4 different teams in those top 4 places. We're going to be heading off anytime soon. So, as we said earlier, look out for turn 1. Scene of many an accident over the year. It's very, very tight. It's quite a wide pit straight, and it narrows quite a lot on the entry into turns 1 and 2. And 3 even more so. The wall right on the outside of turn 3 is where we saw the 2 Racing Points coming to grief last year, or a couple of years ago, with Perez and Ocon. A couple of years ago. So it's very easy to have an accident down there. So hopefully this time we won't have any incidents. So yes, here we go. It will be a few seconds yet. The drivers just got to get their setups back on again. And also get their tyre strategy done. I believe we could still be having the same weather, so we might still see a little bit of rain at the end of the race. Just to throw a curveball out there for all the drivers. We got a 31 lap race. 50% race, of course, here. So just very, very quick reminder, Anthony Waddington leads the Drivers' World Championship by an amazing 69 points at the moment from Owen, who isn't racing here today. So Anthony could be extending his lead. 9 points further back from that is JBL, who's starting down in 11th position. Cesar is 4th in the championship, 28 points behind that. He's up in 4th place, so he too will be looking to close the gap. But they're all going to be aiming for Anthony Waddington in pole position. And very quickly in the Constructors' Championship, just 8 points separate Renault and Red Bull at the top of the Constructors' Championship. 209 points for Renault, 201 for Red Bull. And at the moment, of course, we've got Renault's 1st and 6th on the grid, and Red Bulls are down in 11th and 8th and 11th on the grid. So Renault also looking good at the moment to extend their World Championship lead, but of course the Red Bulls will be trying to do that. 1 or 2 stops usually, I would say, for a 50% race. Depends how attacking they are. I believe Anthony Waddington will be starting on the soft tyres, because that's what he completed Q2 in. Likewise, Michael Booker in the Haas will also be doing the same. He starts 10th on the grid. But I think the rest of the top 10, if I'm not mistaken, will be starting on the medium tyres. So they could be making a one-stop work. Anthony Waddington and Michael might be having to do a 2-stopper starting on those softer tyres. They do degrade quite quickly. In a 50% race, we could be looking at just 7 or 8 laps on those tyres before they need to be changed, before they completely lose performance. Let's see. Just a few seconds now, hopefully, before we do start the race. And I do look forward to this. I love watching the starts of these races. It's usually fascinating to watch. And being a street track as well, you don't really have the same on normal racetracks where the racing line tends to be a bit grippier and cleaner. We saw yesterday Callum Harrod from second on the grid made a brilliant start and took the lead from Cesar, who was on pole position. So it's a fairly even split on grip on the grid. So in fact, the car who started fourth on the grid last night as well, which was Dean, another Dean Harrison in the Mercedes, also had a very good start as well and was second by turn one. So the left-hand side of the grid isn't necessarily a disadvantage here. Just waiting for the drivers now, finalising their strategies, finalising their setups, and the race is about to start within the next 20 seconds. They're all starting to ready up now. And here we go. 31 lap Singapore Grand Prix here for Extreme 1 Racing League is about to start within the next 10 seconds. And last few drivers just very quickly finalising their setups. And here we go. We've got Anthony Wallington on the left. We've got Jorge on the right. 5 lights are on.
Lights out and away we go.
Away we go. It's a great start from Anthony Wallington. He moves immediately to the left-hand side to cover Jorge, and Anthony retains his lead. Cesar's had a good start as well, up into third place with the McLaren. And Romano spun immediately. Romano just contacted with Cesar. Romano has spun. He's going to be a long way down the grid. Scott's had a poor start as well. He's down near the back. I think he got involved. And yes, there's contact as well with Pete Polini. But Anthony Wallington in the lead. He was quite aggressive start, but he was perfectly entitled to do that. Moves across and it retains the lead. He is on those soft tyres, as is Matt in the Toro Rosso as well. Philip Nielsen's had a good start as well, up into 5th position. But Anthony Wallington will now be looking to make a break on those softer tyres. Jorge's had a great start. Cesar as well, up a place into 3rd place, but poor old Romano's fallen all the way to the back of the grid. He just put his left front wheel onto the side pod of Cesar's Racing Point, and it was enough to spin the car around. And then he collected Pete Polini. I gather there's a yellow flag in sector 2 as well. I think that's Callum in the Mercedes has gone off. He's lost a big chunk of his front wing, so he's going to now struggle on that as well. And I'm just looking, there's damage as well. There's a lot of damage as well to the McLaren of Romano as well. So drama at turn 1 as we expected. But Anthony Wallington, look at the gap he's already got, over a second over Jorge, with Cesar pushing Jorge hard in 3rd position. Then already quite a big gap back to Ivan, who's had a decent start from 8th on the grid up into 4th place. And another penalty for Romano. That's 2 penalties within the first lap for Romano. There's a Williams running very wide. That's Philip Nielsen, who could be one to watch in the background. Rian Fori's right behind him. So they are really pushing hard as into the pits comes Anthony Bauer and Ben Hazelwood and Pete Polini. They're all pitting. And I think Romano Hoffman is also going to be following them into the pits. And Callum in the Mercedes. So 5 cars in the pits already at the end of the first lap. Look at this. This is Philip Nielsen shaping up on Ivan's Red Bull. But on Ivan's spot, I think there was a little bit of contact. I think Philip Nielsen did just tap the back end of Ivan, and behind that Matt's pounced up the inside of Rian Fori. Rian tried to take advantage of it, and Matt has pounced. Brilliant there, driving by Matt to just throw it up the inside of turn 8. Perfect overtake. And look at these 5 already so close together. There's 5 or 6 cars so close together here. We've got Ivan 4th, Philip 5th, 6th is Matt, 7th Rian Fori. Michael Booker's had a good start as well, up into 8th place. Dean as well into 9th in the Haas. And the second Haas, Thomas Edwards is up in 10th place. He started down in 17th position. It's a great start from him as well. JBL hasn't been able to take advantage of it. He's still in 11th place, but look at these 5 or 6 cars. But I think there's 7 in this little train already. This is the main battle because Anthony Waddington, here he is, leads by 2 seconds already at the end of the second lap over Jorge, who's now got Cesar for company. The DRS will be activated at the end of this lap, but Anthony Waddington is flying out in the lead. And that last lap, he was 0.6 of a second quicker than the cars behind him. So great start to the race, exactly what he needed. But as I said before, look out for these soft tyres. We think after 7 or 8 laps, they will be completely worn out and he will need to pit. So, and in fact, Jorge is coming back at him already. So Jorge having a great third lap here with Cesar right behind him. Philip Nielsen has got past Ivan meanwhile into 4th place. So now we've got Ivan with Matt right behind him. And Matt's hitting the wall. And then Rian Fori's also hit him as well. So a little bit of contact there. Matt just drifted a little bit wide in turn 8. Rian tried to squeeze through as Matt was recovering. And there's a little bit of damage on the left-hand side of Matt's front wing. He has indeed. So, but that's allowed Rian Fori up into 6th place. He lost a few places at the start. He qualified 5th on the grid. So he will be pleased to get back into 6th. And he will now chase after Ivan as well. But look out for Philip Nielsen, 9th on the grid, up into 4th now. He's 5 seconds behind the battle for second place between Jorge and Cesar. But Anthony Waddington not able to capitalise on his advantage here. He's dropping back, he's lost. Oh, and Cesar just tapped the wall there. Not sure if he's got a bit of damage, but I don't think he has. I think he's just got away with it. But just tapped the wall there coming into the chicane under the grandstand. And now he's dropped back a little bit. But Jorge driving brilliantly here at the moment. Fastest lap of the race. And Philip Nielsen sets fastest lap. So that's a good effort from him in 4th place on those medium tyres as he starts to close the gap to the top 3.
Matt Toro Rosso's in the pits.
He is indeed. And Jorge now within DRS range of the Renault in front of him. So Anthony Waddington here will be under a bit of pressure. Car number 25, that Renault versus Jorge Klatzer in the Ferrari.
Onto a set of hards, that should see him through to the end of the race, providing he doesn't have any more damage.
Yes, I mean, Matt, we saw Callum Harrod yesterday in Talk of the Devil managed to do about 50 laps on those set of tyres, so it will still be a bit of an arse to do 27 laps on those tyres. It will be a bit of an arse, called 50% race. That will be equivalent to doing 54 laps on those tyres. It's still a bit of an arse. He may have to pick the softs right at the end. But Jorge now really started to apply some pressure. Philip Nielsen still closing the gap very, very quickly. Now less than 3 seconds behind Cesar. Behind them, we've still got the battle going on between Ivan and Rian Fori. Dean up to 7th. He'll be pleased with that. 15th on the grid, already up to 7th. Michael Booker having a solid start to the race as well. Oh, and Cesar's in the wall. Cesar's hit the wall.
That explains the other flag.
Last lap. We saw it on the last lap.
Oh no, the yellow flags up for Ben Hazelwood. He's got a lot of front wing damage on his Alpha.
Yes, Ben spun. He's not having the greatest race weekend so far. Struggled in qualifying, and he's trying to again. Look at that lap time by Philip Nielsen into the 1:40s already. That's already quicker than the official lap record. So Philip Nielsen absolutely flying in the Williams in 4th place, and now with Cesar's damage, he's now got the Williams right behind him, and Philip's going to surely have so much more grip. Here comes Jorge, he's having a look. Anthony's going defensive. Jorge's going to have to go round the outside.
He's going to go round the outside!
Oh, and Anthony just about kept out. Philip Nielsen, meanwhile, has taken 3rd place. Look out for him. This is crucial now for Jorge. He's got to get past Anthony Waddington as quickly as he can, so I have a feeling that Philip Nielsen is just going to scream up to the back of these two, because his pace is absolutely phenomenal at the moment. But Anthony Waddington not got the pace that we were expecting. We saw how quick he was in qualifying. He doesn't seem to be able to carry that pace so far at the moment into the race. Philip Nielsen brilliantly racing at the moment in 3rd place from 9th on the grid. He's already got past 6 cars. So Cesar, we've seen him hit the wall twice. We saw it yesterday for him as well in Talking the Devil. He does seem to struggle around here with the proximity of the walls. They're so close to the racetrack. And we saw him hit the wall a couple of times yesterday as well. So this is where he went off before, this time making sure he gets into the corner. Meanwhile, just behind them, we got Ivan 5th, Rian Fori 6th, and now they're all being caught by Dean in the Alfa Romeo in 7th place. And then just behind that, we've got Michael Booker in 8th place being caught by JBL in 9th. But the two Haas cars, they started in 10th and 17th. And they're now currently running in 8th and 10th position as Matt in the Toro Rosso gets past his teammate to move into 13th position on his recovery drive through the field. Scott Young started in 6th on the grid. He's struggled at the start. He's already made a pit stop and he's up into 12th, but he's on another set of soft tyres, so he will definitely be pitting. Anthony Waddington now just seems to be stabilising the gap a little bit. He's not under as much pressure. Jorge's not quite as close. Philip Nilsson, meanwhile, is now less than a second behind Jorge. So this is the battle for the lead. This is what we saw yesterday. Anthony a little bit wide in that hairpin. And Jorge trying to pounce on it as they come up into turn 14. And look how close it is between these three. This is what we saw yesterday. A 4-car battle for the lead yesterday. We've got a 3-car battle for the lead now. Anthony Waddington in the Renault, Jorge Klatzer in the Ferrari, and Philip Nilsson in the Williams. So Renault, Ferrari, Williams. When was the last time that was a top 3 in an official F1 race? I don't think that's ever happened before either. But you can definitely see the clouds coming across. So there could yet still be the weather to contend with later on in the race. But look at Philip Nilsson. He's had a great run out the final corner, and he now takes second place away from Jorge.
And you've got to think with that sort of pace, Waddington is probably very concerned with how quick Philip is.
Indeed, I can't see. I mean, Philip's just sliced his way through the field here. I can't see it being long before he finds a way past Anthony. Let's have a look. Running down. He's got a great run out of turn 5. Anthony's going defensive. Philip seems to have great straight line speed in that Williams, and Philip takes the lead. Easy lead in the end, round the outside. We've seen him do it several times in this race already. And Philip Nilsson, on his debut, don't forget here for Extreme 1, takes the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix on lap 7 as Scott Young pits. I think Anthony started to struggle on those soft tyres. The other person on softs, Scott Young, has pitted again, so he's now gone out into a set of mediums. So Philip Nilsson now, how quickly can he stretch away in the lead from Anthony Waddington? I think he will be pitting very, very soon. I'll be surprised if he can go much further. Ben Hazelwood, meanwhile, is a long, long way back already at the back of the field. Jorge, a little bit of oversteer around the outside. Penalty for Tom Edwards. He is in 10th position. There's been a bit of a change there because Thomas in the McLaren has moved up into 9th place. And Michael Booker, who was up in 9th, has now dropped back to 11th. He's made a pit stop. Michael Booker's made a pit stop, so that's why he's dropped out of the top 10. So Philip Nilsson now over a second clear already. Anthony Waddington is carrying on a little bit. Now he's going to have pressure from Jorge in this down the pit straight. Jorge not quite close enough. Cesar 4.5 seconds. Don't forget, he has still got that damage from connecting with the wall. Look at the run Jorge's got here out of turn 5. And surely there's not going to be a lot Anthony can do about this one. A penalty for Ben Hazelwood. How late is Anthony going to break? Yes, he backs out of that one. So Jorge moves into second. This is the thing around here that we noticed yesterday, that the tyres, once they go, you really start to struggle on traction. We saw it with Callum Harrod toward the end of the race. He had so much less traction throughout the race. And Ben Hazelwood now is a long, long way back. We've just seen him get a penalty on screen. So Philip Nilsson now 3-second lead already. He is absolutely flying out front. Jorge now up into second place. And Anthony Waddington has slipped to third from pole position. So, well, what a start to the race we're seeing already here. As a close battle going on here for fifth, still going on between Ivan, Rian Fori and Dean in the Alfa Romeo. Here we see it. Ivan doing a good job. He started in 8th on the grid. He's 5th at the moment. 5 seconds behind Cesar, but I think he's just slightly catching Cesar. Just in front of them is Ben Hazelwood. Now Alfa Romeo here could maybe try and use Ben tactically. Just hold up that Red Bull and Rian Fori and help Ben's teammate Dean as Anthony Waddington pits from 3rd. So I'm not quite sure where he will come out. I have a feeling he may come out all the way down in 10th place, I have a feeling there. But let's have a look. Look how close he's getting as Rian Fori dives up the inside. He's not going to be close enough there. Wow, nearly contact. And Rian thought about it in the last second and switched to the inside, but wasn't quite close enough to make the pass stick. And Dean not quite close enough to pounce on that either. But and a couple of penalties coming through there. Anthony Bauer and Scott Young both receiving penalties there. And and off goes Ivan. Ivan's completely missed his breaking point. So that is going to cost him a lot of time. He's going to have to do almost a 3-point turn there to get himself out. And he's going to fall a long, long way down the grid. As past him now goes Thomas McGregor in the McLaren. And look at that. Anthony Waddington has got past him as well. So big error there for Ivan. Philip Nilsson, meanwhile, the lead is 4 seconds. And Cesar's now slipped to 7 seconds. And Rian Fori is 4th with Dean all over him in 5th position. JBL meanwhile has recovered from 11th of the grid. He's now up into 6th position. Thomas McGregor driving well as well. He started down in 16th on the grid. He's up into 7th now. Started on those medium tyres, so he'll be going a little way into the race yet. But he's now got Anthony Waddington for company on those brand new tyres. Philip Nilsson, though, how well is he driving here? He's 5 seconds clear in the lead and pulling away all the time from Jorge. Jorge, it appears, has no response for this. And there's nothing that he can do for it at the moment. Cesar is 3rd with that damage to his front wing, don't forget. So he is going to be struggling to stay ahead. Rian Fori's just closing the gap on him a little bit as well in 4th place. So I don't think Cesar can have much of a response. Another penalty, his 3rd of the race for a recovering Romano. He's down in 2nd to last position as well on the grid. So, how long into the race now can Philip Nilsson go? That is the question. We saw yesterday about 25 laps or so on the medium tyres. Of course, it's a half race distance, so he's probably about 12 or 13 laps at most. So, let's see how they do. No, there's another one under there. And Philip Nilsson still pulling away as Rian Fori pits from what was 5th position, allowing JBL up into that position. It will be interesting to see here where Anthony Waddington does feed back in once these leaders pit, where he can feed back in. Because at the moment, the pace of Philip Nilsson, I mean, Anthony Waddington is 30 seconds off the lead. It's about 28 seconds for a pit stop. But I think at the moment, Philip is still doing enough to just about come out still ahead of Anthony Waddington, and it depends on whether they're making 1 or 2 stops. I have a feeling that Anthony will be stopping again in that Renault, because I don't think the medium tyres will last to the end. But who knows what may happen here. We've seen a lot of long tyre strategies here. So if you look after the tyres, it will all come down to tyre management at the end of the day. Don't forget here as well, you do get fastest lap for those outside the top 10. So at the moment, that is being held by Scott Young on a 1:42.2. He has got the fastest lap for outside those top 10. Fastest lap of the race is still held by Philip Nilsson on a 1:40.8. He set that quite early in the race, of course, when he was coming through the field. Had a bit of a gap in which he set that lap time. As Dean gets past Cesar. Cesar into the pits from 3rd position. I think they might change that front wing because he's clearly been struggling for pace with it. He's fallen a long way back behind Jorge, who he wasn't far behind before he had that incident. Yes, they are. They're changing the front wing of that Racing Point, so hopefully that will see a return to pace. Anthony Waddington has got back past Cesar. Of course, he's already pitted. And let's see, Michael Booker might just get past Cesar here as well. Michael Booker having a good drive. He's up into 7th place now in that Haas, having an excellent race. Good qualifying as well. Got through to Q3, caught out a little bit in the wet conditions, but he is now up into 7th place, and he's already made a stop as well. So great drive so far from Michael Booker. He will probably be caught by Cesar, who is, I think, going to the end. I think Michael has got to stop again, but still, excellent effort from him. We're watching him now in the Haas. Philip Nilsson, meanwhile, his lead is out to nearly 11 seconds now. He's just relentlessly pulling away from Jorge behind him. Dean up to 3rd now after Cesar's pit stop. Anthony Waddington 4th after his first stop, and he is closing on Dean in front of him. I'm just going to see what the gap is. It's just under 30 seconds as Philip Nilsson pits. Philip Nilsson into the pits. The leader pits at the end of lap 12. And very quick pit stop. Very quick pit stop. And another set of mediums on that car. So he will be stopping again. So that is interesting. He's just come out ahead of Anthony Waddington. So good pit stop. Perfect timing for him as well, because he has come out ahead. Jorge also in the pits. So Dean now leads. Don't forget, Dean started on the hard tyres. So he will be going a very, very long way into this race. He's got a 2-second lead over Philip Nilsson, who we've just seen make a stop. And Anthony Waddington about 3 seconds behind that. Sorry.
Now. Why don't you? You didn't.
I did.
What is it then?
29078.
So lap 14 of the Grand Prix, already nearly halfway through. Been a good race so far, full of strategy.
Philip back into the lead after overtaking Dean, Waddington in third, JBL fourth, Holgate fifth, Tom McGregor in sixth, Cesar Harris in seventh, Michael Butler eighth, Anthony Bauer ninth, and Pete Colleen in the Williams, rounding up the top 10. So how's about that? The Williams sandwiching the points field.
Yes, indeed, and it's been a good recovery so far from Pete Polini. Don't forget, he started 12th and then he was caught up in the first corner accident when the McLaren spun out of Romano, and so he's up into 10th position, has to make a very early stop. But Philip Nielsen, I mean, look at the pace he's got right now as Anthony Waddington is catching him, but catching Dean in second place, but he's again just relentlessly pulling away. Philip Nielsen sets fastest lap of the race, a 1:40.0. His lead is already out to 4 seconds over Dean. JBL is 4th, Jorge is 5th, Thomas McGregor is 6th, Cesar is 7th after that long first pit stop. Don't forget, he had to have a longer first pit stop because he broke his front wing. So a longer first pit stop for him as Thomas McGregor pits in the McLaren, so he's going to drop back through the field. Let's see how quickly here, and there's yellow flag in sector 3. I'm not sure what's happened there, and it's Ben Hazelwood again, and he's into the wall once again here. Ben Hazelwood, and Thomas Edwards has retired. He's crashed into the barrier at the start.
Oh, and one of the Toro Rossos around the crash, that's Anthony Bauer. He's had a spin as well. Hopefully he's avoided damage. It doesn't look like he sustained any.
Yes, he seems okay at the moment, but well, they're all starting to struggle now. We've seen cars brushing the wall, we've seen a bit of contact, and now they're all starting to struggle. Ben Hazelwood is going to have to stop again in that Alfa Romeo. So he's running at the back anyway, so I don't think that'll worry him too much. Scott as well in the Mercedes, he's having a difficult race as well. He's all the way down. He's retired as well. Oh. So we've had our second retirement of the day as Romano now from third on the grid has just been lapped by Philip Nielsen. Can you believe that? He has just been lapped from third on the grid. It's really not gone well for him today. Philip Nielsen's lead out to 8.5 seconds over Dean, who is still a second only clear of Anthony Waddington, as JBL and Jorge are fighting over 4th and 5th place as well. JBL started on the hard tyres as well. Jorge has made a pit stop. There's a virtual safety car. We have a virtual safety car.
That'll probably be I'm assuming the incident with Callum.
It will, yes. Well, Callum, I think, was in the pits. I think maybe more Thomas Edwards, because his car was in the middle of the track. I saw that Callum was in the pit lane. And Pete Polini has actually done a genius thing and has pitted under this virtual safety car. You lose half the amount of time under a virtual safety car for a pit stop. So instead of him coming out a long way back, he actually comes out in 12th place. So genius there from Pete Polini, and I think he can go to the end on those tyres. And look at this, he's also trying to go around the outside of Scott Young down into turn 5, and that is very close to Scott. Well, Scott backs out of it. So Pete Polini, with a perfectly timed pit stop, moves into 11th place, so he could be on the fringes of the points. In front of him is Ivan, who I think will be stopping again very, very soon in the Red Bull. And also within striking distance is Anthony Bauer. Ria Fori, I think, is going to the end. I'm not sure Anthony Bauer can go to the end on those hard tyres. It'll be asking a lot of those tyres. And another yellow flag in sector 1. I'm going to try and see what that is. Oh, and there's Ben again into the wall, coming out of turn 3. So Ben really struggling here. Not sure if it's the setup. We've seen some excellent drives from Ben this season. And he seems to be just struggling here. Meanwhile, his teammate now in a big fight with Anthony Waddington, and he goes defensive. Anthony has to switch to the outside at the last second. Dean's trying to hang on, but Anthony too much grip on those fresh tyres, and he moves back into second place. JBL also pits from 6th position and is dropping back down through the field.
Yeah, he's gone to mediums. Hopefully that should get him through to the end of the race.
It should indeed. He started on the hard tyres, so just after half distance. So expect to see Dean in soon as well. We're just after the half distance mark now. So expect to see Dean into the pits before too long.
Ivan in the pits though, 7 laps on those softs. That's and he's looks like he's serving a time penalty as well. And he's changing his front wing
Yes,
as well.
indeed. Yeah, so it'll be a very, very slow pit stop for him now with all that. So let's see what happens here for the remaining 14 laps. Oh, Dean, so nearly into the wall.
It was Anthony Bauer and Michael Booker. Booker sustained a fair bit of front wing damage.
Yes, and Dean so nearly went into the wall where we saw Cesar hitting the wall earlier on as well. But he's still carrying on, is Dean. I expected to see him in this lap, but he's still carrying on. Jorge slipping back a little bit now from Anthony Waddington. We saw how close they were earlier on, and he is now 6.5 seconds behind him. So this set of tyres not quite agreeing with him as much as they are with Anthony Waddington, definitely not. But Philip Nilsson, what can you say about him? On his debut here for Extreme 1, and he is 12.5 seconds in the lead. Yes, he's got another stop to make, as they all have. A penalty there for Rian Fori. I think that's his second of the race. He's in 7th place at the moment. And with those 2 penalties, that would see him at the moment slip behind Anthony Bauer. But I think Anthony's got another pit stop to make. Very quickly, the top 10. Philip Nilsson leads from Anthony Waddington. Dean is 3rd. Jorge Klatzer is 4th in the Ferrari. Cesar is 5th. JBL 6th. Rian Fori is 7th. Anthony Bauer is 8th at the moment in the 2nd Toro Rosso. 9th. During the lead Toro Rosso. 9th is Michael Booker having a good race, and in 10th is Pete Bellini. And I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, there is spots of rain out there. I'm sure I've just seen, yes there is. There is spots of rain out there.
Michael Booker just now, and there is definitely rain on the way. Oh boy, here we go.
Yes, this is gonna, like we said earlier, it's going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons here to have that bit of rain coming down, and we've still got quite a long way to go, so I don't think anyone's going to be able to tiptoe to the end. They're going to have to pick for intermediates. So Philip Nilsson, 13-second lead. Anthony Waddington is 2nd.
He's in the pits.
Yes, well, this could be very poor timing for him unless the rain is coming down heavy and he's able to get on a set of inters. He's going to have to make a 2nd stop here. Maybe that is what they were trying to do, get him to when the rain comes down. I'm trying to see what tyres they're readying for.
It is inters. It is intermediates.
It is intermediates.
And
they're changing his front wing as well. But, well, that's a brave call. It's only just started raining. The DRS is still enabled. He's going to struggle for these first few laps here to get any grip or tyre temperature going. But if the rain does come down heavy...
What it could mean, though, is it might be a short-term loss, but potentially a long-term gain.
Well, I mean, those intermediates are horrible on a bone-dry track. He'll be losing 8-9 seconds a lap on a bone-dry track. But when we saw in qualifying, when it starts raining, it does tend to come down quite hard here. So who knows? If it does come down like it did in qualifying, he could be okay. So within a lap or 2, it could be soaking wet out track. Meanwhile, Philip Nilsson continues to be pulling away by a second a lap. He's 16 seconds in the lead now. Anthony Waddington is 2nd. Jorge just closing the gap a little bit in 3rd place to Anthony. Cesar back up into 4th, but after that extra long pit stop, he's a long way back now, 20 seconds down. JBL is 5th. He's not long made a pit stop either. But still a good recovery drive from him. He was 11th on the grid, and he's currently 5th in the race. So good drive from him, helping out Red Bull in the Constructors. His teammates down in 13th position, having also just made a pit stop. So 11 laps to go after the one that the leader's on. Here he is, Philip Nielsen. He's just lapped Ivan as Anthony Bauer's got past Dean. So I don't know if Anthony made a mistake there, but Anthony Bauer is up into 7th place ahead of Dean's Alpha. And yeah, I think Dean might have a little bit. Cesar pits. There's a yellow flag in sectors 2 and 3. What's happened there? And it is Michael Booker. Michael Booker's spun off. I think he's hit the wall. He's got some damage to his front wing. So Michael Booker's good run could be coming to an end. Cesar's also now gone on to a set of intermediates in the racing point. Let's see. The other car on Inters is Dean, and he is really struggling
coming down
on those intermediates. And he is just about alongside Cesar. Yeah, just about getting ahead of Cesar. I think these Inters are just starting to come, and that's that's Romano. Such a shame. He's had such a difficult race, but yeah, those intermediates are struggling. We could see another virtual safety car here. If we do, don't be at all surprised to see cars dive straight into the pits. Philip Nielsen has taken 3 seconds out of Anthony in just the last lap. The lead out to 19 seconds, absolutely flying, as Matt and Ivan pit. So Matt and Michael Booker pit.
They've gone for intermediates as well.
Indeed, they have, yes. So I think it's the way to go now. Intermediates is definitely the way to go. So how long can these leaders stay out on these intermediate tyres? And there's a Renault spun. That's Anthony Waddington. Anthony Waddington, I think with one of the back markers, I think there's been contact. I think that was Michael Booker coming out of the pits, and Michael all over the place. But I did see Anthony Waddington almost in the wall, so I think there was contact there as Michael came out the pits on his brand new Inters, struggling to slow down. I think he just caught the rear wheel of Anthony and sent Anthony into the wall a little bit himself. So lost another 3 or 4 seconds. So Philip Nielsen now is almost in that enviable position of almost having a pit stop in his pocket anyway. It doesn't matter what anyone else does around him. He's got almost that full pit stop in his pocket. So 24 seconds. It's about 28 seconds for the race lead. Cesar and Anthony Bauer in the pits, and Thomas McGregor. They're all starting to move on to intermediate. Cesar and Dean are having a great battle on the intermediates for 7th place at the moment. I'm surprised not more of the leaders are jumping straight in. I will try and keep an eye on the gap to the leader. Another yellow flag in sectors 2 and 3. Let me see if I can find, and that's Michael Booker again, off at turn 14. So I think he has kept it out the wall though this time. But I'm going to try and keep an eye on the gap here between Cesar and Dean and the leaders, because if they start taking chunks out of the leaders, then it will definitely be time for the leaders to pit. But at the moment, they're still dropping back. Anthony Waddington pit. I think he had to.
Hallgate in as well.
Yes, Hallgate also in.
Something he could have done without. The Renaults have stacked.
Yes, Anthony Waddington losing a bundle of time. Lack of communication there. So I think it was a front wing change as well for Scott. So Anthony Waddington, it was doing so well for him.
And the front wing change, it's all fallen apart so quickly.
Yeah, pole position, and well, he's dropped down to 4th place now. Although JBL still has to pit, but he's a long way back. Jorge's got in front of Anthony now as well. So JBL up to 2nd in this race. Philip Nielsen's lead now is 52 seconds. An incredible advantage after 22 laps of the race. He has indeed. Another yellow flag in sector 1 as Rian Fori also goes on to a set of intermediates. Pete Pellini, we saw him in an instant in the first lap. He's up to 6th place now. Cesar and Dean will get past him. But he's up into the points. I think after that first lap, points were the last thing on his mind. And the Ferrari, that's Thomas McGregor in the wall. There's a McLaren into the wall, down at the chicane, under the barrier.
His front wing's gone completely.
Yes, I think he just locked a wheel into that chicane and locked his nose first into the wall. He's managed to back out of it.
Phillips in
He's
the
going to
pits now.
have to stop
Phillips in the pits now.
So
He's
that
got
allows
nothing
Matt-
to lose.
as Matt goes through and takes the final point. So Philip Nilsson, what a drive from him through the field, ninth on the grid. JBL surely, I would think, we will be pitting at the end of this lap.
It's about a minute down the road, and he's almost
Yes,
got it.
and Jorge is
There
rapidly
you go,
catching on
DRS
those
disabled. There you
intermediates.
go.
Jorge is so quickly catching him on those intermediates, so JBL surely will be pitting. I'm just trying to see where he'll come out. He will come out not far in front of Ryan Fourie, so he could still be in 4th place here, JBL, which would still be a good result for him, considering he started 11th and he didn't seem particularly quick at the start of the race either. So he's the last man to go onto these intermediate tyres. Cesar and Dean still locked in battle for 6th position. They did pit a little bit too early, I think, there. And I think they could have made up a lot more time if they were just stuck with it for an extra lap or two. But hindsight's a wonderful thing in motor racing. And Ryan Fourie, I think he's going to be just behind JBL. So JBL comes out in 4th place, so another good drive from him. But Philip Nilsson, despite his pit stop, now has a 30-second lead. I mean, we did see in qualifying he's not as quick in the rain, it seems, as in the dry. So that will give his competitors some hope. He seems to be struggling a bit for grip at the moment, but Jorge half a minute behind. And after that debacle down at Renault, Anthony Waddington is now 17 seconds behind Jorge after being 7 or 8 ahead of him. So it's a disaster for Renault here. The constructors, the leaders in the Constructors' Championship, are having a disastrous race on their terms, and Anthony struggling for grip as well. A lot of oversteer there through turn 10. So JBL now just under 6 seconds behind Ant. Ryan Fourie is 5th, just under 5 seconds behind that. The three of them are closing. Another yellow flag in sector 3. See if I can find out what that is. I think that was Thomas McGregor again, just running wide in one of the chicanes. He has recovered to the track. So lap 24, Philip Nilsson leads by half a minute from Jorge. Anthony Waddington is third, JBL 4th, Ryan Fourie 5th, Cesar is 6th, Dean 7th. They're still locked in battle. Pete Collini is 8th, Anthony Bauer is 9th, and in 10th is the second Toro Rosso of Matt. And that could be good for Toro Rosso. Get a couple of points onto the board. They're currently 6th in the Constructors' Championship, but with Williams here getting a maximum score with 25 points, this is going to lift Williams, with Pete Polini in 8th, up into 4th place in the Constructors' Championship. Who'd have thought we'd be saying that at the start of the year? In fact, it'll actually lift them to 3rd in the championship, I believe, as well, because Cesar's only getting a few points there. So it's going to be very close between Racing Point and Williams now for 3rd in the Constructors' Championship, if things stay as they are. And I certainly don't expect them to, with the way this race is going, with the rain continuing to fall. So he has now got a bit of grip. He's starting to pull away again in the lead. Anthony Waddington is 3rd and actually falling back. Ryan Fourie is catching JBL quite quickly in the battle for 4th. Cesar's now got a little bit of gap between himself and Dean. So there's no close battles out on track anymore. Pete Polini is 8th and just starting to home in a little bit on Dean. But just behind that, I mean, we're pretty sure now as well that this is going to be the result. So fastest lap for those who finish outside the top 10. At the moment, it's held by Ivan. If he doesn't get into the points, he will be getting 2 points for that fastest lap outside the top 10. And fastest lap of the race for that extra point is Philip Nilsson. Another yellow flag, this time in sector 2. Let's see if I can find that. And that is our old friend Ben Hazelwood with another error and off the track in turn 10, and another broken front wing. And I think he's got suspension damage there by the way he's turning the wheel. Maybe he's just letting the traffic through. Oh, and he's caught the wall again.
Oh, dearie me.
Well, he's just caught out there. It does jut out a little bit there on the Anderson Bridge, and he tried to stay well to the right to let the traffic through, and he ended up connecting with the wall and has completely broken his front wing now. So another pit stop for Ben Hazelwood. He's already made, can you believe, 5 pit stops in this race, and this is going to be pit stop number 6. Well, I mean, Jenson Button won a race in 2011 with 6 pit stops, so maybe all's not lost, but at this late stage of the race, penalty for Cesar, Michael Booker into the pits as well. I think he's got some damage. So again, he'll be disappointed. He started in the top 10, was running up in 7th for a while. And a couple of areas now the rain started to fall, and he's dropped to 2nd to last, only in front of Ben Hazelwood, who's coming in for pit stop number 6. And I think also that's about 5 front wings he's had so far in this race. So I wonder if that's some sort of record. It's got to be up there. And Ben has retired from the race. Not surprised, really. Ben Hazelwood becomes our 4th retirement of the race. Thomas Edwards retired quite early on. Callum in the Mercedes went out as well. Romano's had a very eventful race. Started 3rd, spun in turn 1, collected Pete Polini with him. Then there's a couple of other spins as well, and he's ended up down in retiring from the race. And Ben Hazelwood likewise had a lot of spins, a lot of problems, and he is now out of the race. I will see if I can actually get one of the retirees for an interview here. I'll see if I can get Ben Hazelwood in for an interview. But Philip Nilsson, 35 seconds nearly now in the lead. Jorge, well, he's doing a good job, is Jorge, in 2nd position. But he's got no answer for Philip Nilsson at all. Anthony Waddington, 3rd. And, well, he's pulling away from JBL in 4th place, but he's got no answer now after that bungle pit stop by Renault. We're on lap 26. Out of 31. Not long to go now. And it will just be all about who can keep the car on the track. Who, as Philip Nilsson just tapped the wall there as he came out of turn 11. Don't know if he's got any doubt. I don't think he has. He just sort of tapped it with his left rear. I think that will just straighten the car up, if anything. But he might just get away with that. But he won't want to be doing that too many times. So, stunning drive by him so far. 9th on the grid. Caught out in the rain. He was fastest in the first 2 parts of qualifying. But then caught out in the rain, and how heavy the rain was in the final part of qualifying, and has ended up back in 9th on the grid, but has just fought his way through brilliantly. Took the lead early on and hasn't looked back. And while his tyre call's been just right as well, you'd have to say it's always a perfect race really for Philip Nilsson. Perfect tyre calls, pit stop at the perfect time, great overtakes, and he's ended up with a 35-second lead. So lap 27. Philip Nilsson continues to extend his lead. And he's had that one little slide. That's the only mistake I've really seen from him in this race. He's had that one slide just now in the wet conditions, which is understandable. But apart from that, Anthony Waddington, I think, has made a mistake somewhere, as he's now lost 6 seconds to the car behind him, which is JBL. And JBL also has Ryan Frory right behind him in the battle for 4th place. So these three getting close in the battle for the final podium position. Can Anthony Waddington regain a little bit of composure and and hang on for this final podium spot. Very interesting to see. Philip Nilsson though still imperious out front, and driving well. And don't forget, like I said before, it's his debut race in this series, so he will certainly be impressing a lot of teams looking for regular first team drivers as opposed to reserve drivers. Philip Nilsson 36 seconds in the lead. Jorge Klatzer driving well, but no answer. Anthony Waddington still just losing a little bit of time. He hasn't lost as much as he did before, but he's still just starting to fall into the clutches of JBL and Rian Fori in that great battle they're having for fourth position. Of course, got to be careful in these conditions when they try and overtake, because if you run a little bit wide or try and go onto the very wet stuff on the inside of the track, it's very, very easy to snatch a wheel off the racing line and slide into the other car, or just slide into the wall around here. So it's that little bit more difficult in the rain. Brake distance is a bit longer, of course, so that does ease it up a little bit. But let's see, JBL running a little bit wide out of turn 3 there. Lap 28 of 31, just 3 to go after this one. And well, driver of the day, Fraser, I've got to say, I've got to give it to Philip Nilsson. Stunning drive, unlucky in qualifying, but being perfect race so far, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would definitely have to agree with you. Definitely Philip driver of the day for me. At least the decision tonight wasn't as difficult as it was last night.
Well, no, I had to split it between 2 last night, because they made it quite difficult. Some good drives in Talk of the Devil last night, but Scott Young and Thomas McGregor having a good fight as well down there for 12th and 13th, looking toward the final points. But well, we're just watching this battle here for 4th. Anthony Waddington just pulling away again a little bit on this lap, so he has just sort of settled it back down again. It's very easy in these conditions to just try and push a bit too hard, have a bit of a slide, then you've got overheated intermediate tyres at the back, and it can compound the problem and make it so much harder. So let's see if he can just continue that. He's just stretched it out, just done over 3 seconds. It's now 3.4 seconds. And someone is crawling into the pits. That's Thomas McGregor, so he has gone off again, unfortunately, is that McLaren. So he is in the pits again, but he's 36 seconds ahead of Michael Booker. It might not be over for him. Turns out they do have to change the front wing, of course, on that. He's going on to full wets. That's an interesting move. So maybe the track conditions are worsening. The rain, it does look like it's getting a bit heavier, but I would have thought they'd have been able to, at the very least, tiptoe round on those full wets. Anthony Waddington has lost a little bit of ground again. Lost another second or so. Rian Fori's very, very close.
JBL for 4th.
He is indeed. Sorry, 2 seconds, Fraser.
There we go, 3 laps to go. JBL doing his best to keep Rian Fori behind him. the penultimate lap now. JBL still keeping Rian behind him. Yeah, looks like he got a good drive out of the final sequence of corners. Not quite able to get past JBL at the moment. A little further behind. Polini right on the back of D for 7th place. Tom McGregor again in the pits. This is something we really could have done without. Here we go, we're on to the last lap now. Still flying sector 3. Not sure what that could be for.
Sorry about that, everyone. I'm back in time for the final lap, and actually back in time for the last few corners. Philip Nielsen. Here he is. What a drive from him. From 9th on the grid. He was so quick in qualifying, don't forget. And he is now on his way with a 40-second lead. And all JBL and Rian Fori very, very close together there. But Rian can't quite find a way through. But Philip Nielsen, 40 seconds in the lead. And he can almost get out and push this home now. So let's have a look here. Coming into the final sector.
Pete Polini did manage to get past Dean.
Yes, he has. He's moved up into 7th place.
Before he's still trying to get past JBL. He's going to have another crack here. And he makes it stick this time. Forces JBL into a
yes,
mistake.
no, he hasn't.
But then
No.
he makes a mistake of his own.
But Philip Nielsen now coming through the last couple of corners. And Philip Nielsen crosses the line to win the Singapore Grand Prix. What a stunning drive from him. Jorge is a long, long way back. Rian Fori has not given up on JBL yet, but he's only got half a lap to go. Don't forget, we saw Cesar try to do something similar to this on Callum Harrod last night. But Jorge coming through. Good result from him. This will lift him up a place or two in the World Championship as well. He's 10th at the moment. Started second. Well, I mean, he started second, finished second, so on paper, not a bad result, but in the end, second only, and there's a yellow flag in sector still. Try and see what that is, but Jorge comes home second. Oh, and the Renault's off. There's a Renault off. That is Scott Young. I thought it was Anthony for a second, but it isn't. Anthony Waddington.
If that were the case.
Anthony Waddington, well, he's not winning the race. He was on pole, but he will extend his championship lead. And he spins as he crosses the line. Can you believe that? But JBL fourth. Cesar with the penalties from Rian Fori. Cesar snatches 5th at the end. Rian Fori gets 6th. Pete Polini, great drive from him as well. He's 7th. Dean 8th. And look at that, the Toro Rosso of that is Anthony Bauer crosses the line backwards. I've never seen that one before. But he crosses the line backwards to claim 9th place. Ivan's finished in 11th. Scott 12th. Michael Booker's nearly at the line there. Michael Booker now crosses the line to finish 13th. And Thomas McGregor will be disappointed with that 14th on the grid. He was well up in the points at some point, and the last point here comes to the second Toro Rosso of Matt.
The fastest lap was Ivan. He got the fastest lap outside the top 10.
Yeah, so he will snatch those extra couple of points there. But what a drive for Philip Nilsson. I'm going to try and get the top 3 now in for an interview. Hopefully they will join. Last time I tried this here, they didn't have microphones. But there we see the podium. Philip Nilsson in his first race gets the win. And, well, first race ever in Extreme 1. And he takes the checkered flag. So we got our third place finisher in the podium and in the party here, and Jorge as well. If you guys can just make sure on the party chat that your audio is included.
Mine is.
Box is ticked. So Anthony, well, you started on pole. You finished third, but overall, not a bad result for you. Keeps your championship lead going.
Yeah, I'm just happy to get points today. There were a lot of talk about Philip Nilsson being quick, so I knew what to expect.
He certainly was. I mean, from ninth on the grid, he just steamed through the field.
Yeah, I mean,
a little bit of confusion.
Well,
It was a good race. You did race really well. A little bit of confusion there with you Renault guys. You probably lost second as a result of that.
yeah, definitely. I had wing damage anyway, so I had to pit no matter what.
And a nice little spin as you cross the line there as well. That was just to give us a bit of entertainment.
Showboating.
And Jorge, you started second, finished second. You must be pleased with that result.
Yeah, man, what's up? Can you hear me, guys?
We can hear you.
Okay. Very happy. First podium in season. So, yeah, very happy. I'm excited. The first place, the new guy, Felipe or whatever, it was so quick, amazing. Also Anthony.
Yeah, good race.
Yeah, I mean, you literally.
Congrats on getting your first podium.
Yeah, I mean,
Thanks,
you
man.
just didn't have an answer for Philip at all, did you? Were you pleased to see the rain? Or I mean, the track looked very slippery in that rain.
Yeah, it was very disciplined at the end, but well, I practiced yesterday with rain, so it helps.
Definitely does. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. It was a great race to watch, and we'll see you both again next week.
See you later. Take care, both of you.
Bye, guys.
So, thank you very much to everyone for watching this evening. Thank you to my commentator, my co-commentator here, Miss Fraser McKenzie. Thank you very much for joining me this evening.
A pleasure as always. I'm gonna go get myself ready for tonight's X2 race, which I believe you're on commentary for again. Third race in a row this weekend.
Indeed, yes. And I'll certainly see you soon for the X2 race, and for the Extreme 1 viewers, we will see you again next week. Bye for now.